a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a...
The drama surrounding Kelsey Plum's jab at Caitlin Clark was the spark that finally made Colin Cowherd say what many had been thinking but few dared to voice. It wasn't just about a t-shirt or a passive-aggressive remark. It was a spotlight on something deeper, more unsettling, and more corrosive brewing in the WNBA. Cowherd wasn't afraid to call it exactly what it was: jealousy, pettiness, and an unwillingness by certain players to recognize the seismic shift taking place right before their eyes. For over 2 decades, the WNBA operated in the shadows. Players flew on budget airlines, shared cramped accommodations, and played to mostly empty seats. It was a league built on grit but starved of attention. Then Caitlin Clark arrived. In a league long desperate for mainstream relevance, Clark became the lightning bolt no one saw coming. Overnight, merchandise sales skyrocketed by 500%. Attendance surged 40% league-wide. Teams that were hemorrhaging money began flipping into profitability. Franchises that once gave away tickets...
The t-shirt, just United front was determined this morning.
...just to fill the stands now had waiting lists for season passes. But amid this long-awaited renaissance, instead of celebration, some veterans chose spite. Cowherd zeroed in on Kelsey Plum's remark about Team Clark's absence at a recent union meeting. The players had rallied behind a call for better pay, sporting t-shirts demanding fair compensation. But Plum, rather than seizing the moment to unify the league, chose to aim a dart squarely at the rookie phenomenon transforming their sport. That move didn't sit right with Cowherd. Because Plum's subtle dig wasn't harmless, it reflected a tone deafness that risked undermining everything Clark had delivered. "You were flying budget airlines that charged for water," Cowherd said bluntly. "Now you're on private jets." He compared the shift to going from a sketchy Motel 6 to the Four Seasons in Beverly Hills, and reminded everyone exactly who made that leap possible. It was
band, and you're staying at the Motel 6, and you add a band member, and now you're...
It wasn't some abstract market shift. It was Caitlin Clark, the golden goose, the one player dragging the WNBA from irrelevance to profitability. Cowherd didn't object to the pay raise demands. He agreed the players had earned more. But he couldn't stomach the hypocrisy. These same players, who'd spent years decrying how women's sports weren't getting the attention they deserved, now turned on the very person giving them the spotlight they had begged for. Clark didn't just increase revenue, she was the revenue. In Cowherd's view, the league's veterans weren't just biting the hand that fed them. They were torching the bridge to their own better future. And the All-Star voting was the final straw. Fans voted Caitlin Clark as the #1 guard. Players, they ranked her ninth, behind her own teammates.
That we had a meeting for, and not to tattletale, but
the disrespect wasn't subtle, it was surgical. Cowherd called it what it was: professional jealousy masquerading as critique. And make no mistake, this wasn't about stats. Clark's numbers backed up the hype. She was top 2 in nearly every offensive category. She was hitting more three-pointers than Steph Curry did during his MVP season. She was breaking rookie records at a historic pace. Yet players who owed their increased salaries and travel luxuries to her visibility couldn't bring themselves to acknowledge her value in the most basic, professional way. It reminded Cowherd of something eerily familiar. He called it the Jordan parallel. When Michael Jordan entered the NBA, it wasn't just his game that disrupted the status quo, it was his popularity. He brought in millions of new fans, made the NBA a global product, and exploded merchandise sales. But not every veteran welcomed that. Jordan had to endure the infamous Jordan rules from the Pistons, whose sole purpose was to beat him into submission with physical punishment.
The Ritz-Carlton. Keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from...
The league didn't know how to protect him back then. And now, decades later, the WNBA finds itself in the same dilemma. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's Jordan. She's not just a scorer or a shooter, she's an economic engine. And just like MJ, she's being targeted on the court with hard fouls, unnecessary contact, and blatant aggression that the officials are failing to regulate. Cowherd highlighted that connection. The league, he said, isn't ready for her. The players aren't ready. The officials aren't ready. But ready or not, she's here, and she's only getting better. He praised the Indiana Fever for seeing the writing on the wall. They brought in Sophie Cunningham not for scoring help, but protection. Cunningham is a black belt, a brawler with enough fight to guard the face of the league. Cowherd likened her to Charles Oakley, the muscle the Bulls added to shield Jordan from being mauled every game. It's not a stretch, it's the blueprint.
A Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a Four Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
The WNBA hasn't seen anything like Caitlin Clark. And this version of her, the rookie, the one still adjusting, is the weakest she'll ever be. Imagine what happens when she figures everything out. Imagine what happens when she's healthy, seasoned, and angry. Cowherd predicted it's going to look a lot like the ascension of MJ. Dominance. Transformation. And in the process, legends will be made, or left behind. He challenged the league and its players to get real. Stop pretending Caitlin Clark is just another rookie. She isn't. She's the catalyst the WNBA always prayed for. And now that she's here, some of them can't handle it. Cowherd called out the inconsistency in their message. For years they blamed the media, the sponsors, the networks for not supporting them. But now that the support is flooding in, thanks to one player, they want to dictate what that success should look like. You don't get to choose the wave, Cowherd said. You ride it or get washed away. The All-Star voting wasn't just a snub. It was a warning. The WNBA is splitting into two camps, those who embrace the Clark era and those who resist it. The former are rising. The latter are stuck. Cowherd pointed to the Fever teammates who chose the smart path: Aaliyah Boston, Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, and Cunningham. These players aren't just sharing the spotlight. They're building something. They understand that collaboration with Clark elevates everyone. And when you're on the right side of history, the wins come easier. Clark's second year, Cowherd argued, will change everything. And the veterans better figure out quickly whether they're going to ride the momentum or be remembered as the ones who tried to kill it. Cowherd warned that continued resistance doesn't just hurt Clark, it hurts the league's credibility. The casual fan tuning in to see the new superstar isn't going to come back if what they see is a league trying to sabotage its own draw. The networks won't keep investing if the players themselves aren't on board. Sponsors will walk away if the infighting overshadows the product. That's the bigger issue here. This isn't about one player. It's about the entire business model. The WNBA is finally showing signs of real financial growth. TV ratings are climbing. Sponsorships are increasing. Merchandise is flying off the shelves. And the reason is crystal clear: Caitlin Clark. She is the golden goose. The money is following her. The attention is following her. The future of the league is being built around her. That isn't conjecture. It's economics. Cowherd's frustration stems from watching this league finally get its break and seeing some players still acting like they're in survival mode instead of expansion mode. He acknowledged it's tough to watch someone younger, newer, and richer change everything you've worked for. But that's the reality of sports. The wave doesn't ask for permission. It arrives, and you either surf it or drown. Just like Jordan didn't fit the mold of what an NBA superstar was supposed to be, Clark doesn't fit the mold for the WNBA. She's not flashy in the way the league marketed its stars before. She's not built from the same blueprint. But that's what makes her work. That's what makes her transformative. She connects with fans in ways nobody else has. She's relatable, yet remarkable. Humble, yet ferocious.